Good morning. Today, we are here with Yolanda Hatch of Back Home Herbal Initiative. And today on the Garden of Ina Herbal Talk series, we're going to just learn a little bit more about Yolanda's journey in the herbal world and her offerings and just basically her story to hear more about how she got started. So, again, we are here with Yolanda Hatch of Back Home Herbal Initiative. So, Yolanda, how did you get started? First off, let's hear about more about who you are, and then we'll go into like how did you even get started with herbalism.
Wow. Well, thank you, Ina, for having me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
really grateful to be here on Ina's Garden. I love your name and I love what you're doing and spreading black herbalism on your Facebook page and just really love what you're doing. I think as I've been researching for material for the two conferences that I have coming up and focusing a lot on Miss Emma Dupree and now Miss Harriet Tubman is just bringing me back to who am I. And recently I was listening to a song by Nina Simone about the four women talking about who I am, and each of the women, whether they were brown skinned or yellow skinned or pecan skinned or darker skinned or chocolate, they all had in common that they were unique and that the experiences had made up who they were. And it made me continually reflect on who I am. Herbalism is helping me to help define that in myself. My great great grandmother was a midwife in Brooks County, Georgia, and my great grandmother at that time she was not doing midwifery, but she did forage four different herbs, and my mom as a little girl witnessed that. And with that being done, my mom introduced me to different herbs in my community in Thomaston, Georgia, when I was a little girl. Always loved that connection with nature, and we would go foraging for rabbit tobacco. At that time, I just was inquisitive about nature and different plants and different rocks and minerals and just being out, amongst the trees. I've always been that type of little girl that run through the trees and run through the different forests and collected berries, and my mom would make different pies out of it. So I felt that accomplishment of being able to be comfortable in the woods at a very young age. I have to say that my grandparents on my father's side was very inspirational to me. They taught me to value the land. They were farmers at that time, and each summer we would go down and farm the land, and I grew a connection with the farm and the animals and just that environment of being sustainable. At that time, I learned what a kitchen garden was, and learning because my granny would, she was an excellent cook, and I've always loved cooking. I always have loved what cooking brings to a family and brings to an individual. And now understanding that our immune system and our foods that we eat is so very important to us on a not only on a physical level, but on a cellular level, on a mental level. That old saying that you are what you eat, it really is true. And because we've gotten away from those traditional farming practices, a lot of our food is depleted in some of the normal things that were found, like magnesium is not in the ground, and some of the other trace minerals that were in the ground because of commercial farming. We don't have that luxury of having the same food that our ancestors had a free availability to. So when COVID broke out, it brought out the fight in me because every day I was seeing our people highlighted on the statistics of who was going to contract it, who was going to die from it, and it all seemed to be related to what we were eating, what we were drinking, our stress, our sleep. And so I started to jump in that fight and go back on to nursing and doing the Western thing, but somewhere deep in my gut, I didn't feel that it was the right thing to do. I mean, medicine has its proper place for cuts and bruises, but for incidences, for its chronic things, I think starting with food and nutrition has to be focus number one, and starting with the water quality that we have access to. I can't tell you the right water or the right company to drink water from because we all have those issues, but I can say drink the best water that you can and incorporate the best food that you can. I'm drawing back from my ancestors and my grandparents to grow more of my own food, more of my own herbs. I'm really thankful, just to think that every little thing that, or all the experiences that I had in my life are now serving me to be able to be a blessing not only to my family but also to my community. So who I am, I could only define it within the last 2 years as being a community herbalist. And a community herbalist with a focus on prevention instead of treating. Now, I mean, treating, yes, we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to um, meet people where they are, keep our herbs simple, keep them where people can access them in their backyard or on their porch or locally, and educate on using those herbs in tea forms and tinctures and mixing them with smoothies. So I see a lot of education going on, and as a community herbalist, I see a community herbalist as one who makes their own medicine, enjoy making medicine, and teaching others how to make medicine. I enjoy foraging, like I'm out here with Ina today. On this beautiful fall day, we're going to be looking for goldenrod, and I'm going to be also looking for some kudzu roots. So, hoping that I could find some and get some to add to my practice. I feel like community herbalism is not just one thing, because you get a chance to work with the plants and you get a chance to work with the people. And if that's something that you enjoy doing, I mean, investigate it further. Investigate that, making the people connection, because I'm learning that people and plants are so much alike, and just finding that right balance that we could thrive and depend and work with each other to get the perfect balance that I know Creator wants us all to have.
Thank you for that. That was awesome. So tell us about what you got coming up and, what you're preparing for now.
Well, I'm so excited. I have two conferences coming up. One will be actually next weekend, October the 1st or the 2nd. It's going to be in Bryans Road, Maryland, at the Wild Ginger Herbal Conference. I'll be speaking to folks about the 21st century black herbalist, using my mother, Miss Emma Dupree, as a speaking point. And some of that I'm gonna have to be a little angry, because you cannot watch Miss Emma Dupree and see all of the contributions and the foresight that she talked about with the environmental problems, the food, the water, the lead, the rust coming through the pipes, the food not being processed properly. She talked about mental health. So all of these issues that she talked about, back in the 70s still exist here, in the 21st century. And those concoctions that she made with brewing the teas, we're going to look at ways to incorporate those more into our daily lives and getting that fiber and that vibrance that Miss Emma Dupree had. That's what I'm looking for.
Awesome, awesome. All right, and so that was the Wild Ginger Conference, and then the other one is what?
Yep, the other one is going to be November the 2nd. Is the Mid-South Women's Herbal Conference Collective, and really excited about that opportunity to share the story of Miss Emma Dupree again, but this time talking more about the tonics that she used. She had one recipe with a 9 tonic. We're going to be delving into that, but also looking at ways of incorporating tonics for the 21st century community herbalist, looking at tonics as forms of peels, extractions, and not only that, but also like what we've been used to with infusion or decoctions. So doing a lot of good research on tonics and how we can use them every day to promote wellness and promote wholeness.
And promote our exposure and experience with herbalism, because you don't see a
Yeah.
lot of us at these conferences, and to hear our stories, although we have definitely made a major contribution to this space. So it's good that you're going to be representing us and bringing Miss Emma Dupree to the forefront in these spaces. So excited
Oh,
about
yes.
that. So
I am
thank
so
you.
excited.
Yes, and thank you for speaking with us today on the Garden of Ina Herbal Wellness talk series that we got. So thank you, and you take care.
Yes, thank you. And we're going to have a great time foraging.
Yes, yes.